Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be unboxing and reviewing the animated Gravedigger from Home Depot. It is an animated prop that stands 6.5 feet tall, my size. I love those kind of props. And he does some movements, does some sayings, and I'm kind of excited to add him to my vampire scene this year, where he will be alongside a coffin, ready to bury somebody or unbury somebody. Have to stay tuned to find out for that. So I ordered this online at Home Depot. I know he's kind of out of stock right now, but things come and go at Home Depot. You might see him for sale again. He was only $200, which was not too bad for an animatronic. And I think that he was part of their lineup last year as well. So I'm not sure if that's the case, but if you are, maybe you'll get to be able to see if he is different at all this year. But to my knowledge, I don't know. Let's go ahead and open up the box. And so this is the shipping box. This is how it came. It's got not much of an actual label to it. It does say on the end of the box that it's the animated LED Gravedigger, but no images. So hopefully you'll remember if you keep them in storage. I'm a little disappointed that this box is so huge. It's going to take up a lot of storage room if we keep it. So I don't know. I might have to just leave them assembled. We'll see. Inside, it looks like we have a lot of unnecessary space. So that's one vote for getting rid of the box. But I see part of this cardboard is just sort of wrapped around the figure. Let's go ahead and pull out the pieces and see what we're dealing with. The first thing I notice here is that there are some instructions, which is good. Looks like we have a couple of pages. Doesn't look like it's too extensive because there's not a whole lot of parts in here. We have a separate bag full of clothing. Got a hand holding a lantern. This is supposed to light up. Looks like a couple of arm pieces. Now, if you have put together these animatronics in the past, you're going to know how this all goes together pretty easy. It's all the same sort of parts that you see with virtually every animatronic. So there's the torso. Because this is a Gravedigger, he does have a shovel piece. That's actually kind of a nice prop. I was a little worried that it might be sort of a felt shovel, but this is a nice hard plastic shovel. Speaking of hard plastic, look at these giant boots. For a 6.5 foot tall character, this seems very appropriate. What is that, size 13 or so? They look like my shoes. Okay. A few more body support poles. Another hand. A creepy face. A base piece. And a power adapter, which is great because I don't like things that are battery operated. Oftentimes I don't even have my animatronics going. I just like them stationary and just looking pretty for Halloween. So if that's the case, it's nice with this. We can just leave it unplugged or plug it in. So let me clear this out a little bit, make some space. Let's start assembling. Now all the pieces do have letters on them. Starting with the base, it is letter A. We're just going to build up from there. So from the base A, we're going to attach these poles B, and they can only go one way. They have little holes on one side, little pins on the other. And basically you just line up the holes and the pins. There are actually 4 poles labeled B, but before we go ahead and put the second layer of poles on, I'm going to go ahead and slip on his shoes that are labeled C. So they just slide right over the pole, and on the base you can see there is a little additional support that is going to correspond with the hole in the boot just to keep the shoe from falling all over the place. But now I'm going to go ahead and place the other poles on. And then from here, he's really going to start taking shape because we're going to start putting on the clothing, starting with his pants. So looks like we've got a nice fabric here. It doesn't look like there's any particular design or anything to it, so it could theoretically go on either way. There's a little bit of a cut in the back. I'm assuming that's the back. That's how I'm going to put it on. All right. From the pants, we're going to put on the torso. One thing I really like about this torso is that it is all one piece. Oftentimes with these animatronics, the shoulders and the hips are separate pieces. It doesn't make it that much more challenging to put them on, but it makes it a lot faster if you don't have to. But then again, on the flip side of that, it's going to make it a little bit harder to store because this piece is so much larger than the torso of the general animatronics. A couple of the things to note with the torso here is we do have a sensor on a couple of cables that feed up from the bottom. That's probably going to attach to his jacket. On the back, we have a couple of cable connectors that I assume will connect to his head. And then there is one sort of flapping rod here. I'm not sure what that's going to connect to, so I think we're going to have to look at the directions. So I have looked over the instructions. I don't see any mention of attaching this rod to anything. I do suspect that it might... Okay, so what's happening is that when I move this rod, it moves this arm piece that's going to connect to our arm that we're going to attach later. It's clear this is meant to attach to this piece here. I mean, it's the only place it could possibly fit. And there is a hole inside this little bar here where there should be a cotter pin or something, and it's not here. So I don't know. Apparently, I guess mine was just missing it. And if I don't find one, I suspect that this, as it moves around, is going to work itself off and stop working. So I'm a little disappointed in that. Before we go ahead and put the jacket on, let's go ahead and plug in the adapter cord, and it is now knotted. The cord is over 6 feet long, it looks like, so that is good. We're just going to go ahead and plug it into the box, straight on the back. And I guess we're going to fish it down through the pant leg before we go ahead and raise those up. So let's do that. We're just going to pull them over this sort of plastic hip. And there we go. He is getting pretty tall. One thing I can see offhand is we have a big bright letter D on here. Let's go ahead and pull that off. The instructions say to put on the jacket before we do the arms. So let's go ahead and open this up. It's got quite a lot of material here. This looks pretty nice. In the back, we have some Velcro to help us put this on. It doesn't un-Velcro completely, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to sort of shimmy this over him. He's looking very dapper. I like his little ruffles here. I can see from the front you have this little hole here where that sensor that we made sure not to tuck in anywhere is going to stick on. It does have a little piece of Velcro here, so all we have to do is stick it in place and it should hold itself. So fishing the arms in place is never my favorite part of putting these animatronics together, but let's go ahead and stick this arm up through the sleeve. I'm going to pull it off just a little bit, kind of go in from the inside so I can pull it out. And this way we can better access the pinholes that we need to put the arm piece through. There we go, it wasn't too hard. All right, so with the arm here, we are missing a hand. So let's see, where is his hand? Let's go ahead and put that on now. It just again has the pins and the holes. We slide them in place, and there is a little piece of Velcro to hold his sleeve against his hand, which is nice. Now, this is the hand he's supposed to have the shovel in. Let's see if we can figure out how to attach this thing. So We've got the top and the bottom piece. There are 2 pins on one side. So I guess we just sort of fish the shovel through. Those pins, I suppose, are supposed to keep it from falling back through. All right, so there's his shovel. Pretty cool. And I'm sure that we can adjust this arm a little bit. It seems pretty tight. Maybe we can't. I feel like we should be able to, because I'm not super thrilled with how that looks. But let's go ahead and put the other hand on and see what the lantern looks like. The lantern arm does have the extra cable that we're going to connect so that the lantern will light up. Let's go ahead and fish that one through. All right, there's actually a cable end at the other side, obviously, because we're going to have to connect it to the cable in his hand. So let's go ahead and do that first. Just connect the cable, pop the hand in the holes. All right, there we go. Now he's holding his lantern. That actually looks pretty cool. One thing I'm not super thrilled about is this weird hole that you see in the side of his hand. I'm not sure why they did it this way. I feel like that could have been done a little cleaner. This side is okay, obviously, because your hand's gonna, grip around the lantern. I guess this side would a little bit too. It looks fake and phony, and I don't like it. All right, next up we have the head. Same situation. Poles and holes. Wires, connect them, the colors match up. Very simple. I'm going to go ahead and turn him to the side because it's a little hard to work here. But if you're tall like me, this really shouldn't be a problem assembling him. All right, I'm going to go ahead and connect all these wires while I'm back here. Also, while I'm back here, before we go ahead and turn him on, there's the control box in the back. It's got on, off, and foot sensor, or sensor, I guess, probably. It looks like there is a jack for a foot sensor if we wanted to use it. And thank goodness there is a volume control. I love that. That way we can have him move around, and if we really hate his sayings, we don't have to listen to them. So I'm going to go ahead and set the volume right now to about medium. Let's go ahead and close up the back of his outfit and then put on his hat. Now, the hat does have on the back this nice little ribbon detail, and I'm kind of wondering if that might be some way to keep it from flying off, because that's one thing. Well, I think this one actually it does have Velcro to keep it Velcroed to his head here, but in high winds that could easily come apart, but I really don't see anything it could connect to. While we're talking about that and actually looking at things, there is a strip of Velcro here on his shoulder that it looks like his shovel connects to. But that just made things worse. I think I popped his arm out of the hole. I don't know what just happened. All right, so while fixing his shovel arm, it looks like the lantern arm fell out of place. I think he could have benefited for a little bit longer pins that held those arm pieces in place, but it is what it is. So let's put on his hat, and I'm ready to turn this guy on. All right, here goes. He is plugged in. I'm not sure what setting I left him on. Maybe it was the sensor. Well, that did nothing. Let's go ahead and check it, make sure.
This place is filled with the bodies of those I've buried over the years. Why, some were even dead when I buried them. Others were the undead, and I had to bury them just to keep them quiet.
I think I've done something wrong because I do believe he's supposed to twist and turn as well. Let me take a look. All right, I think I found the problem. It was a loose connection, I assume, on the base piece. Now, the pieces on the lower part of the torso were already connected, and they're not the easy plug ones. You have to actually squeeze something and pull it apart and push it back together. I don't know, I'm not technical. But I pulled it apart, put it back together. He seems to have started working, but I haven't seen yet if it actually works. I'm going to go ahead and turn him back on, and I think, once again, that the buttons in his control unit here are actually either sensor, off, or it is just plain on. So let's go ahead and turn him back on and see what happens.
This place is filled with the bodies of those I've buried over the years. Why, some were even dead when I buried them. Others were the undead, and I had to bury them just to keep them quiet. They say this place is haunted. Oh, I've seen the spirits of the dead walking and floating above the ground, but that's not my job. Oh, sir, I put the bodies under the ground. Most of the time when I bury a body, they stay buried. But every now and then, one pops up and grabs you. You best run along before another one of them gets antsy. A gypsy woman said I'd be burying 4 bodies tonight. I've buried 3 bodies so far. I wonder. I'll get the hole dug and then we'll just see who gets to lay in it. Be careful where you tread. Some buried folks don't stay buried and are likely to grab you around the ankle and pull you down with them. No, I don't have to dig a grave for everybody buried here. I've heard that this place is a cursed patch of land. On Halloween night, the buried bodies will rise back up from the ground and reclaim the souls of others. I doubt that's true, but I'm gonna keep this shovel handy just in case.
All right, so he has 6 different sayings. They're all very clear. The audio is actually nice. There's not a lot of miscellaneous background noise that I hate. It's actually a very good audio. The mouth is okay. I mean, obviously it's not synced to the words exactly, but it's not too off. He has a very creepy sort of skin texture when we're up close. I absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and bring the camera in and we'll take a closer look. All right, we'll go ahead and start up here at his face. His eyes are very glassy, gives it a very realistic appearance. And look at the painted on eyebrows. I like that it's not the same color. It actually does look somewhat realistic. The teeth, I love the fact that they look very grimy. Don't really like the missing front tooth there. I feel like they could have made maybe a couple of teeth missing and it might look a little more realistic. He's got the hair flowing out of his top hat here, which is very, looks like it is worn and stained, like it has been used for years, which kind of goes along with his outfit here. The ruffles on the front of his jacket are very dirty looking, and it's all rumpled and wrinkly, as are his hands, which also have the veins sticking out, almost like he is some sort of zombie as opposed to a gravedigger. I don't know. I get the Old West sort of vibe from him, not sort of zombie Undertaker type guy. The shovel here, again, is hard plastic. It's got a nice finish to it. The handle is supposed to, I guess, look maybe perhaps like metal. It doesn't look bad, but oh, I even like how the handle itself kind of, it looks very worn, like there's a piece of wood there that's been used over and over and over for years. As we make our way down his trousers, again, there's nothing much to the trousers. They're very plain, but the shoes themselves, again, hard molded. They've got laces and everything. They look really realistic. I love them. If we go ahead and open up the Velcro in the back, we can see the mechanism here, the control unit. So again, we have volume. He has been on medium volume, and then the switch to switch it from always on to sensor, the power cord, and I believe that there is for a foot pad. Okay, so some of the things I absolutely love about him, of course, is the height of him. It makes me feel like a kid again, standing next to a grown-up. I love him. His eye gaze is just sort of distant and off. I kind of wish his head tilted down a little bit more. I think that would have made it a little more spooky, like he's looking at you, because obviously he's going to be looking over anybody who is near him. I like the body movement. It does have kind of a loud motor noise as it's moving around. So, you know, if he's going to be real close to your guests or your trick-or-treaters or whatever, they might notice that. But we'll just have to have our party music blaring, and that will kind of disguise that. I don't really love that this shovel doesn't want to stay up here on his shoulder. I mean, I could probably force it like that. Actually, probably will work. But everything feels very tight, and even just standing by itself, the arms popped off a moment ago. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Like I said, those pins that hold the arms together are really needed to be just a little bit longer to kind of keep them together. But as long as he doesn't fall apart, he's got a great presence, and I really like the way he looks. So let me know your thoughts in the comment below. But before we leave, I did want to say thank you once again to the patrons who help support the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. If anybody else is interested in joining our Patreon Fright Club, you can do so via the link in the description below. And even if you're not interested in joining our Fright Club, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That too greatly helps the channel. So be sure to stay tuned as we get closer to Halloween. We're going to be doing a few more animatronic reviews, more product reviews, DIYs, store walkthroughs, and more. So till then, thanks for watching, take care, and happy haunting.
The woman said I'd be burying 4 bodies tonight. I've buried 3 bodies so far. I wonder. I'll get the hole dug and then we'll just see who gets to lay in it. Be careful where you tread. Some buried folks don't stay buried and are likely to grab you around the ankle and pull you down with them. No, I don't have to dig a grave for everybody buried here.